So you want to learn how to create this distortion trail effect inside of After Effects? Then stick around because it's a crazy effect and I'm gonna break it down step by step and spill all of the sauce. But without further ado, let's get right into After Effects. So I'm in After Effects right now and I got this Wolfface Joey music video right here. It's rotoscoping out something like a hand or something that's just moving, because that's what will look the best on this effect. So I can start off with his left hand right here. When he does this heart, I can mask it out, or actually I can do both hands. Pause. The text right here kind of ruins it, but I'll still go with it. It doesn't matter too much for the sake of this tutorial, but I would recommend that you don't do this on a clip with text for your music videos. So I just finished masking out his hands, and now I'm gonna add on a refine soft matte effect, and this is just to get a kind of feather around the mask so I can make it look a little bit better. And I'm gonna turn down the additional edge radius to 4, and then we can bump up the feather to like 6, 7. No 6, 7 jokes please. I'm gonna put it at 6.5 or 6.7. And then the next step is to duplicate this layer, and for the bottom layer we can remove all of the effects. So now we have the background layer and our rotoscope layer, and the first effect I'm going to apply is an RSMB. This effect isn't like necessarily required, it's just if you want that kind of extra motion blur to make it look extra trippy. But you can still create this effect without the RSMB, or you could just use the CC Force motion blur effect. But if you don't want to use any of those, you can just skip this one. You will still get a pretty good looking effect. And for the blur amount, I'm gonna bump it up to 2, and then we can bump up the motion sensitivity to 100, and now we'll have this really blurry kind of effect. As you can tell by just looking at the hand, you can tell that it's extremely blurry compared to before. And that's kind of what will save my mask as well, because my mask was horrible. As you can tell, like right here, it's not looking good. But with the RSMB, it's going to look a little bit better because it just kind of hides that. Next up, we're going to add the echo effect. This was going to give us that kind of duplication look. And for the first frame, I'm going to keep it at 0. And then we're going to keyframe the number of echoes and then go in like 8 frames, and we can bump it up to 8. So we'll bump it up with 1 echo by each frame. And then we can change the echo operator to composite in back, and we will get rid of that kind of glow. And then we can turn down the decay to make the ones in the back a lower opacity. And I'm gonna turn down the starting intensity a little bit as well. So now we got a lot of duplication of his hands in this scene, and it's kind of all over the place, but at least we have a good look. Next up, I'm gonna add on a distort chroma effect from Sapphire, and this is to get that kind of distortion look onto this. And I'm gonna bump up the blur length to 300, and then we can drag down the amount to something like 0.15, something like this, just so we have this kind of distortion look. And next I'm gonna add on a turbulent displace effect, and I'm gonna change the displacement to turbulent smoother, and I'm gonna drag down the size to 20, and then we can keep the amount at something low like 20 as well, and we can actually drag down the size even more to like 10. And let's actually put the turbulent displace on top of the distort chroma right here. And next we can add on a fast box blur. We can drag this up to like 3, and we could also put this on top of the turbulent displace right there. And if you want to get some color into this, I would recommend that you add on a tritone effect, and the color I'm going to go for is probably like this pink. I'm gonna try that out. I'll probably go for something like this, and then I'm gonna blend with original a little bit to make it look a little bit better, like that, to like 40%. And then I'm gonna go for my preferred glow. My favorite one is deep glow, so that's what I'm gonna go for. And I'm gonna bump up the radius to like 500, and that's good for this effect. Next up, I'm gonna add a new adjustment layer on top of everything, and to this I'm gonna add on a chromatic aberration from Universe. And now we get this kind of blur around the edges, kind of looks like a radial blur with this RGB shift, as you can see. And I'm gonna open up the lens textures tab, and I'm gonna add on something like the bokeh lens, just like that. And I'm gonna bump up the texture amount, just like that's pretty good. And then I'm gonna duplicate this, and for the duplication I'm gonna turn down the master distortion to 0 and open up the blur tab, turn both of the edge blur and radial blur down to 0, just so we can add another lens texture in here. And I'm gonna go for something like frozen, just like that. So now we have 2 lens textures in place. I'm gonna add on a Sapphire Distort RGB onto the background layer, and I'm gonna set the matte from layer to the hand layer, so this one right here, and then set the source to effects and masks. And now we have this kind of distortion RGB right behind our hands, so it just affects the area around the effect. And I'm gonna drag down the amount to something like 0.2. We can drag down the blur length to like 32, so it will be pretty small and subtle, I can drag this down even more to like 0.1 actually and see what we get. I'll try to play it through and see what it looks like. So this what we got right now. It's decent, but I think we can spice it up a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a new adjustment layer on top of the last one, and I'm gonna open up the VFX kit, which is my plugin with over 150 effects. And we've got everything from road effects to shakes, transitions, grunge. You see the rest on the screen. This is the default version, so this one doesn't require any third-party plugins, but we do have the add-on version which requires Sapphire as well. And I'm gonna open up the shakes tab, and I think I'm gonna go for something like a subtle vertical shake. This one right here is definitely my favorite shake inside this plugin, and I'm gonna just apply it with one click and it's applied onto my adjustment layer. Now I just gotta turn on motion blur, and that's it for this effect. Easily applied, and it fits onto basically every single scene. So nothing to worry about with this effect. Or if you're a fan of more high intensity shakes, we've got this wiggle right here. This one is also insane. It's basically up to you, but we have a bunch of different shakes in here, and I'm pretty happy with this result, so I'm gonna leave it at that. But thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and the VFX kit will be linked in the description, so you can go and grab it. I'm sure it will save you countless of hours while editing, and also just help you create insane effects. But thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.